In this video, we're looking at lesson 3, powers of products and quotients. I'd like to start by looking at the index laws we have covered so far. When multiplying terms with the same base, we add the indices. When dividing terms with the same base, we subtract the indices. And when we have a power raised to another power, we multiply the indices. We need to keep these in mind as we go through this lesson. Let's remind ourselves that the term product means to multiply. So when we have the product of A and B, it's A times B. So when we have the product of AB raised to the power of n, then each term needs to be raised to the power of n. And we end up with A to the power of n, B to the power of n. And when we have the quotient, which means to divide, the quotient of A over B raised to the power of n, then we get A to the power of n divided by B to the power of n. We must remember that we only add or subtract indices when the base is the same, and that when we do our operations with numbers, we do those numbers as we normally would. So we look at the examples there. Example 1, we have 4ab to the power of 4 all squared. So we have 4 squared, a squared, and then we use the raising of power by power to get b to the power of 8. And we can do that 4 squared as we normally would to get 16a squared b to the power of 8. In the next example, we're going to do a couple of steps. We're going to have 3c squared all cubed to give us 3 cubed c to the power of 6. And then we have 4 squared, that's 4 squared, c squared d to the power of 6. We can do our numbers as we normally would, so we can collect the 3 cubed times 4 squared together. And then we use our when multiplying, add the indices on the c terms to get c to the power of 8 times by d to the power of 6. We can then just calculate 3 cubed times 4 squared, and that is 432, c to the power of 8, d to the power of 6, c to the power of 8, d to the power of 6. When we have our quotient, 7c divided by d all squared, that means that the 7c is squared divided by the d squared. And we can do that, expand the brackets to get 7 squared, which is 49, c squared over d squared. And then we have our 4k squared all cubed over 5 cubed. And the 4 cubed is 64, and k squared to the power of 3 is k to the power of 6. That gives us 64, k to the power of 6 over 125. So if we look at the exercises then, the product of AB all cubed gives A cubed, B cubed. And if we look at the quotient of 6 divided by 7 all squared gives us 6 squared on 7 squared, which we can calculate to be 36 on 49, doing our numbers as we normally would. So you can now have a go at the rest of the exercises in lesson 3. Thank you.